Right, it's 18 and a half minutes away from 7. Good to have you with us. Well, so much for Lola, you know, and to all the people who put money on Lola yesterday on the strength of me picking it, I'm sorry. Princess Charlotte Elizabeth Diana it is. The name of the latest royal has been announced overnight. Europe correspondent Melissa Davies joins us now. Melissa, for all of the people that do care, are they happy with that name?
Happy, yes, but surprised, no. I think it's quite an unsurprising choice.
It's an uninspiring, and I know it's not a popular thing to say because everyone's saying, oh, isn't it lovely, you know, they're paying homage to Diana, but it isn't inspiring, and this was an opportunity just to rattle the cage a bit, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, like we said yesterday, I really thought that Charlotte was out because Charlotte Diana is the name of Prince William's first cousin. So, you know, usually you don't copy your close relatives, but of course that's, I guess, not the done thing in the royal family because Elizabeth is not only the Queen's name, but it's also Carol Middleton and Catherine's middle name too.
Yeah,
so it's
she's a small gene pool.
Very much a recurring
that's for
name.
sure. All right, the Queen. Has the Queen met the new child yet?
We believe that she's actually going to meet her tomorrow, and it seems now that the Queen's going to come down to Kensington Palace instead. So she's finished her bank holiday weekend and she'll pop down to London instead.
Okay. All of the bookies, there's a lot of talk about how much money the bookies are going to have to pay out because Charlotte was so favoured. But surely the bookies made a bit on, what was the Alice? They must have made a bit on Alice because that was the favoured name, wasn't it? And it's nowhere to be seen.
Yeah. Yeah, and as you say, all the people that put money down on Lola, I'm sure they made, they won't be paying out on that.
Yeah, absolutely.
£1 million they're paying out apparently, so around $2 million. But yeah, I'm sure they're not going to be going broke over the royal baby
they
betting.
Will have done very nicely. Thank you very much. Right, 3 days until voting. What are the latest polls saying?
They're very much the same as when campaigning opened around a month ago, so very close. In terms of the poll of polls, because they're all slightly different, the Conservatives are at 34% and Labour at 33%. That's pretty much been the same right throughout the campaigning. Lib Dems at 8% and UKIP have got 14%. Now that has changed. They were sitting up more around 20%. They have actually lost support over this campaign period. But
which isn't surprising
it has
because, it was always felt when UKIP actually announced their policies, people would run for the hills, as a lot of them have. Let's talk Russell Brand, and you won't hear me say that very often because I think he's a loathsome individual. But he, of course, came out, appeared with Ed Miliband, and at that time was encouraging people not to vote at all.
Yeah, and I mean, I think the parties, both Labour and the Conservatives, are going to have to look very carefully at their campaigning plan for the fact that just a few days out from voting, Russell Brand is the person dominating the political headlines. As you say, he was saying he doesn't want anyone to vote. He doesn't want to vote personally. Now he's saying, well, after talking with Ed Miliband, he thinks that he is the man that when the country says we want this to happen, that at least Ed Miliband will listen. He wants the Conservatives out. Problem is, he's now encouraging people to vote Labour and voter registration is closed. So whether it actually has an impact on those younger voters who perhaps would take Russell Brand's advice, who knows? I
mean, what a twat, frankly, what a twat. Right, now, let's end with something very humorous here. Melissa, you've tracked this down for us. This is a diving streaker. Talk us through how this works.
Yeah, so this to me is streaking going to new levels. This is, he's a 26-year-old student. It was the World Diving Champs last night in London. He somehow ran up to the diving board, stripping his tracksuit off as he went up, down to his Speedos, jumped off the 10-metre board. The security guard up there, not surprisingly, wasn't too keen to jump in after him. Problem was he couldn't make a very fast getaway because in the process of jumping in, he dropped his house keys in the pool as well.
Fantastic.
So he couldn't make a very fast exit.
I love it. I love it. I was going to run, but then I realised I didn't have my keys. Brilliant, Melissa. Thank you very much for joining us. Melissa Davies, our Europe correspondent. Of course, the fact is he wasn't a proper streaker anyway because he kept his undies on. And that, you know, so he loses all credibility as streakers go.